everyone. Welcome to On a Mission, a very special episode post Mission Pro Wrestling's True Colors. I have Veda with me and Front Row, who definitely had a front row seat to all the action this weekend. And we have such an exciting show because we're going to break it all down for you and also get our reactions, get your reactions. So checking in with both of you, Veda, Front Row, welcome. Happy Tuesday. How are you all post True Colors?
Well, I didn't get to be there live, which is always a disappointment. I really, really want to get to a Mission Pro show live. But the good news is that even if you're not there live or you can't be there in person and you have to watch later like I had to do, you can catch it still on Title Match Network. So I watched the replay. So it's like it's almost like I was there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I did the same thing because being there live, the action's amazing, but we don't always get to hear commentary. So I rewatched it yesterday, and man, it was such a fun show.
Yeah, it was an amazing show, and I wanted to thank, before we dive into just the incredible reaction. You, like Veda said, you all can watch it on Title Match Network. That's what I did today as well, because when you're there, there's so much going on, and I wanted to hear commentary. I wanted to hear and see all of the different camera angles. I wanted to see it all come to life. But I want to give a big shout out to everyone in the chat who I know was watching along with us this weekend. We have Marks in New Mexico. We have Mongrovian Mike. We have Big Mike. Matthew Barnes. Brian was obviously a huge part of this past weekend and helped put on this incredible show. We have Ryan Romano, Ezra Vickery. Thank you. Angel, Neil, huge part of this weekend as well. Sam, if I'm getting that right. Brent Ross, amazing sponsor, sponsored the main event, the four-way tag match. Eric, thank you. I just have to give you all a huge shout out.
Yeah, it seems like there's a mix too of people who were there live and people who watched on Title Match.
Matthew Barnes, I like this. MPW equals magnificent pro wrestling.
Nice.
That is true. But thank you again so much. Huge shout out to Salvation Army and Nation's Corner for helping make this happen, and Title Match Network and their whole team. So you guys, just to warn you, we are going to talk spoilers tonight. So if you have not watched it, you could hang out with us, but you're going to have some spoilers, or you can go back and quickly watch it right now.
I mean, even if you know the winners and the losers, the matches are still awesome. It's definitely worth checking out. But if that's something you like to be surprised with, yeah, we're going to have to talk about that. So
we are, exactly. So, you can watch it, you go back and watch the whole archive of Mission Pro Wrestling. So if you want to really have a Mission Pro week, yeah, Neil said it was great being there live. It definitely is. It's an experience. If you all have not seen it live, it is definitely an experience. Pound Ward said, my first show in San Antonio and loved it. I will definitely be back.
Yeah, a couple people.
That's awesome.
I think Angel also said it was their first time, and they definitely want to go back too. So
Angel, great awesome. Show. Was so amazing for my first MPW show I've attended, and I anticipate to go to the next one. Well, you're in luck, Angel, because before we dive into the recap of this show, if you have not seen, we have August 12th, Boiling Point, Mission Pro Wrestling back in San Antonio. And look at this poster.
Whoa. Wow.
We got Genocide. We have, which we're going to talk about, Izzy Moreno making her debut August 12th, her in-ring debut. Let's specify, because she was on commentary this time. So we have a huge card for August 12th, a huge lineup of matches, which we're going to break in the coming weeks. So we're very excited for this one. And tickets are on sale. So you could go ahead and get them if you loved it so much. But I think we need to dive into the wildness and the excitement of this past show. But I hope I could see you all again on August 12th. All right. I think we should, perfect name. Neil says it's perfect. There you go.
It was toasty. It was a little warm in Texas.
Yes, it is toasty here this week in Texas. So any of my Central Texas folks, we had hail yesterday, and we're going to have 118 or something this week. So please be safe out there. Awesome. So let's break it down. Let's dive into this first match. We had MJ Santana versus Cio Nieves. And I know we talked a lot about leading up to this. I'm gonna there you go. Popping out. This is we talked a lot about Cio Nieves making her debut here, and MJ Santana being a kind of a Mission Pro Central Texas staple, and really kind of trying to find a way to shine here. And this was a really fun match to kind of start off the show. So front row, you've seen it and been watching, and I know Veda, you watched it as well. So what was your like first reaction? The start of the show, kicking this off with a debut and a big Mission Pro staple.
Yeah, this was a super exciting match to start off with. And we talked to Cio, who had said like she was really looking to make an impression, and she did. It was one of those situations where it really could have gone either way throughout the entire match. Super exciting.
Yeah, and for me, we talked about Cio's sort of this sort of hacker character and sort of the big presence that she brought to the interview that you guys did with her. So I was super excited to see her in the ring, and this was a great way to kick off the show. A lot of energy. The crowd, as always, Mission Pro crowds always bring energy. So as Emily said, if you have the opportunity to be at a show live, it is experience like none other. And this was a great hot start to the show.
Yeah, I mean, you could hear that there was the Mission Pro chants already, and we didn't even really start the show yet. We were just getting started, and I think this was obviously Cio Nieves. She talked about how much she's focusing, and she talked a little bit about which we'll share on social media, but after the match, kind of how she felt being in the ring again, and she's going to go back and refocus on what she wants to do. And obviously this was a first moment here at Mission Pro. And she's ready for more. And so that's the vibe I got when I saw this, was like, yeah, Cio Nieves might not have gotten the win this time, but she really showed that she's willing to come back and really kind of make another impression. Like Neil said, both ladies made a good impression. Was definitely rooting for MJ.
Mm-hmm.
Adam is like fire.
Yeah.
Almost literally.
Literally, we are going to be boiling here in Texas shortly. So that next August 12th pay-per-view is very much on point. So again, we kicked off the show. I do have to say, there was like this I wrote a note that there was this German suplex in this first match that looked really like, I was like, oh my goodness. I was like starting it off really rough. Where I was like, oh, but that's what I loved, is like, there's such high expectations, and even the first match is always hard, where you have to keep that energy. Like you get the crowd fresh, right? And so you really have to go in there focused and ready. And I feel like these two ladies definitely did that.
Well, yeah, and Mission Pro is known for having, a style, having a very physical, very hard-hitting, serious style. In this match, there's a lot of pressure on people to be in a match that kicks off a show like this. And as it was said in the chat, as Neil said, like, both women really delivered.
Mm-hmm. And for everyone in the chat, we are going to talk about our match of the night. So think about it in your head. Mm-hmm. And at the end, we're gonna all say what our match of the night was. So we're going to continue on, which many people, as I check social media, and many people across the board, this might be a match contender, but we're a match of the night contender. But we're going to talk about this next one, and this was JP Harlow versus Black Swan. And Black Swan definitely made her presence known. It definitely had the most amazing entrance, and there was moves here that I have never seen done so elegantly, but also with such power and such attitude. And it was incredible to see this match. And there was a lot that happened here. We obviously had some moments happen later in the match, but what are your first impressions? Veda, I know we've talked to we've heard Black Swan's story. What did you think about her making this huge statement at Mission Pro this weekend?
Right. Well, we kind of talked about this with Zoe, but the idea that like for a lot of people this was going to be maybe the first time seeing Black Swan in action. Maybe they had seen a little bit of her when she did AEW Dark, but that wasn't really like showcasing her to her full potential because, you know, that was a lot early. Her career has been short so far, but even from then to now, like she's really just growing as a wrestler day to day. And this was like just the first time to really showcase exactly what she can do. And I know she made a huge impression on people, but we kind of talked about this in our preview show. We knew Men's Revolution was going to get involved. And as the match went on, I had a moment where I was like, oh, maybe they're just like preparing for the tag match in the main event. And like, I think that's what they wanted us to think, honestly, because I had a moment of like, okay, well, maybe they're not going to interfere in this match. And nope, they did.
Oh, you're on mute, Emily.
I'm just talking away. No, I love everyone's reaction to Black Swan in the chat. They're totally like she was graceful. The most graceful head scissors takedown.
That's a good call.
Let's talk about some of these moves that she did like a standing split that I was like, that's the most graceful thing ever. And then she did like the sunset flip, but did like the teeter totter, and I was like, I've never seen something so graceful, but like, you know, that's dangerous.
I mean, I think the impression that most people got is that we would love to see Black Swan up against so much of the Mission Pro roster, like to see that style in contrast to other people on the Mission Pro roster, just not Men's Revolution.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. So like front row, you were there. And again, Veda, you alluded to this, that there was interference again in this, like there was interference in this match. There was, Men's Revolution got involved. And so what did you think? You were there live. You saw this happen. And, you know, people are kind of talking about it a little bit in the chat.
Well, I think, you know, for Black Swan, Zoe Dubois, she was, there was a lot of expectations. I know we had talked about her athleticism and what a great performer she is. And Veda can speak to this better than I can, but it felt like she was at a skill level that far surpassed her time in wrestling. So during the match, I felt like there were quite a few moments where she was getting the best of JP. Mm-hmm. So I was sort of disheartened to see the interference because there were definitely moments, especially when she did that back bend into the submission move. And I really thought that was going to be the end of the match. There were several moments where she had JP in the corner or she had him on the ropes. And I really genuinely thought that was going to be the end of the match. So I was a little disappointed, but not all that surprised, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, she just like people are saying in the chat, she definitely held her own against JP. And Neil is saying, damn Men's Revolution, boo.
Boo.
Yeah. But, you know, they're obviously like the Men's Revolution got involved, but we also see Danny B and Charity also came out, did not want to, have Men's Revolution get an advantage and took out Boss Baines. So there was that, some people might say unprovoked attack, but, and that affected later down the line.
Yeah.
But is it really unprovoked?
I mean, and I don't want to I do. I don't want to stir the pot when it comes to Men's Revolution, but if I'm JP Harlow, I'm a little pissed off. Like, he had to have 2 tough matches. He had that hard match with Black Swan, and then he had to fill in the main event. I mean, I don't know. That just feels to me a little unfair. And if I'm JP Harlow, I'm thinking over things. I'm just saying. That's where I would be.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was necessarily unprovoked. If you're paying attention to Mission Pro, Boss Disdains has been a problem for months.
That's
I think he had it coming. I think he had it coming, to be honest with you. Unprovoked? No, I think it was just his getting his just due, I think.
Okay. So I'm gonna I received this paid advertisement that I'm gonna have to read real quick since we're on this match. So I'm gonna read what I have here for everyone. It says the following statement is a paid for by Boss Baines of Men's Revolution. To the Mission Pro fans who cheered as I was blindsided by Danny B and Charity Kane, screw you. Due to their unprovoked attack, I suffered a tear in my right leg. Again, I'm the messenger here, so this is a paid advertisement. If you're too stupid to understand what that means, it means I tore my groin. Now, I'm on doctor's orders to forego any groin-based activities for 4 to 6 weeks. The King Bees thought they could clinch tag team title gold by taking me out, and they put my wrestling career at risk in the process. But they didn't win the titles because they lack my intelligence. King Bees, you're going to experience firsthand what expertise planning can accomplish. You can't get rid of Men's Revolution, but we can get rid of you. If you would like to sponsor a message for us to read live on a Mission, send an email to missionprowrestling@gmail.com with On a Mission in the subject line.
So I don't want to get too far ahead with the spoilers, but I will point out that Men's Revolution didn't win the tag titles either. Like, that didn't happen either. So I don't know.
I mean, that is true.
It was like half a plan.
It's
not a fully realized plan.
You're not wrong.
Maybe.
You're not wrong there, Veda. But again, this was a paid advertisement. So if you would like a paid advertisement for your business, we're offering that. And Boss Disdains was the first one.
I think Mission Pro Management needs to review their process for paid advertisement submissions.
I mean, I'll take the money from Boss Baines. That's fine. Like we'll
taking it.
We'll take
it.
No, we'll take their money. They can have whatever paid advertisement they want. We will happily take their money.
They obviously have that money to give Jasmine, so they have something.
That's a good point.
Yeah. See. Anyway, that was we digressed, but I'm glad everyone's booing him in the chat. That's great. I like that. I like this world's smallest violin. There you go. All right. You should have just given Boss Disdains his money back. Yeah. Probably gonna happen.
No refunds. Sorry.
No refunds. Anyway, any other last thoughts? I mean, obviously we had we had this attack at the end. How do you all feel about kind of JP still?
I mean, it's like we said, it's not unexpected, and I'm sure we'll get into this a little bit more with the main event, but like, it's not unexpected. This is kind of what we thought was going to happen. I'm just really happy that Black Swan had the time to really show what she could do, and like a lot of people are saying, she had JP trapped in that submission. So it could have gone another way very, very quickly. It was just the numbers.
Yeah, I feel like JP's entire win-loss record should have an asterisk next to it at this point.
Exactly. Can we talk about how she caught the boot too? Like she caught the boot.
Yeah.
Brian says breaking news: Boss Baines check bounce, which of course Boss Baines would be writing checks to pay for his advertisements.
Oh goodness!
Did he fax over the copy too?
Yeah, he faxed over it's a carbon copy,
But I mean, we could dunk on Boss Baines all night. We should probably get to the rest of the show.
Let's get to better topics. But anyway, we have to have better advertisement for the show. So let's get some better advertisement. We don't need Men's Revolution. All right, let's get to the next match, which is going to be Mia Friday. Is that right? Yes. Hold on. Am I out of order? George, what was the next match? Oh, yeah. Mia Friday versus Queen Uju. Okay. All right. Mia Friday versus Queen Uju. So, again, we had Mia Friday, who is just a big ball of energy. Can we talk about that? She comes out with such energy. And Queen Uju kind of contrasts that with just this presence that, kind of this villainous villainous energy that you could definitely feel this. But the audience loved Mia Friday. And it was this was a really interesting match to have a contrast of these two ladies. But they really started right away, grabbing hair, kind of kicking Mia in the corner. There was a slap that Queen Uju did that was just so intense. And I was like, whoa, they talked about it on commentary, it was super disrespectful, just total sign of disrespect for someone that is somewhat new to Mission Pro. That was intense. But Veda, I know we've seen these two ladies at Mission Pro and elsewhere. So what did you think about this matchup and finally seeing them in the ring?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Emily, that it was a contrast in styles because Mia is just so quick and has so much energy and she takes these risks. And on the other side, Queen Uju is, I would say, calculating in how she moves. Like, she's a hard hitter, she's a real striker, but she's like very deliberate in what she does and she takes control of the match. And I think that, like you said, with that slap and that disrespect, I think that extends to just everything that she feels about her opponents. Like, you could tell from the moment she comes out of the curtains that, like, Mia was beneath her, so she thought.
Yeah.
And I think that really played into maybe even the ending of the match, because Mia really was able to very quickly get one over on Uju, who it looked like Uju was going to put it away there. So, and I think that maybe that sometimes there's just a little bit of confidence is good, but overconfidence can be a downfall.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Uju kind of brought in this, like you said, this disrespect towards Mia. There was like a few of those holds near the end that were really intense, and Mia was like fighting back, trying to get out of those. So you could see that they really, she really had to fight her way out of that near the end. And really near the end, I was like, it was kind of like a toss up, kind of going back and forth. But Front Row, what did you think about kind of these two ladies in the ring and what they brought to the show?
Yeah, I agree with Veda. I think Queen Uju had a very methodical, very deliberate way of approaching the fight, and Mia, at least during the middle of the match, Mia looked frustrated, like she couldn't solve the puzzle. It was almost like she wasn't quite sure how to approach it and how to. But she did eventually, get one over on Uju. But there was, for a good portion of that match, I thought for sure that Mia was just not going to be able to capitalize. But there were moments where Uju was overconfident and could have probably finished the contest earlier if she had not, sort of been too sure of herself, I think.
Yeah, we have a lot of people that love Mia Friday in the chat, but we also have some people that are like not so hot about Queen Uju. So lots of Mia Friday fans. Neil says,
Buju was a chant. I did hear that chant.
Yeah, there was a chant. What I love is Mission Pro fans really come up with creative chants. It's so fun.
But like, the impression that I get from Queen Uju is that she doesn't care. I don't think she's looking to have the Mission Pro fans on her side. I think that is not her goal. I think when she comes out of the curtain, you can tell that, like, that is not where her head's at. Her head is at just like showing that she is above her opponent. And like Front Row was saying, there were some moments where it seemed like Mia wasn't going to be able to figure it out. But again, it's that little bit of quickness that I think got her the win.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, there is it was really interesting to kind of watch that. But I think you're right. It did help make that win. Sometimes that overconfidence does not help and hinders. Yeah, she doesn't care. Neil's like, she doesn't care. But yeah, this was a really great match to watch. If y'all haven't watched it, I know many in the chat haven't, but you could go back on Title Match Network and again watch this battle happen. But as we go into more battles, there's a very important match that came up next, which was the #1 contender match for the Mission Pro Wrestling Championship. And this was a huge match. It was a very divided audience in the chat, in all of our interviews leading up, and then also on social media and in the crowd on Saturday. We had Tiffany Nieves versus Emmy Camacho. And this is a must-see match. We knew this was going to be, and it definitely delivered. And I am so impressed by what these two ladies brought to the ring on Saturday. it was amazing. I don't even know where to start with this one. But I think the Mission Pro fans definitely got behind these two ladies. There was at one point a battling chant for Emmy era versus La Princesa, and it was really amazing. So front row, you were there, you saw the energy, you experienced it firsthand. And what did you think?
I think there was a very different energy from both people. Emmy came in with this big happy energy, huge crowd favorite. We all love seeing Emmy, and she was ready for the fight. Tiffany entered the ring with a purpose. If you go back and watch the first few moments when she's just entering the ring, she is super serious, super focused. She understood the weight and the importance of the match. So I thought the difference in energy right from the beginning played out through the whole match.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about this a little bit. Big Mike is saying disappointed to see Tiffany cheat considering how good she's been up until now. So this was, we can talk about this surprising turn of events within this match. I mean, we saw so many. There was an incredible sleeper hold that Tiffany did to Emmy, and all of these incredible suplexes and these chops and leg kicks that were leading up to this, right? But Tiffany went the route of, you could say, cheating, right? Pulling what was it, like a little clipper or something, like a knife or something out of her boot, and taking the turnbuckle off, and causing some pretty significant damage to Emmy Camacho. And I wanted to get a feel for what you both thought about this, because Tiffany's been winning pretty significant matches here, and she had to resort to this. So it wasn't really a fair fight near the end.
I mean, like we had discussed a little bit before about this match was already heated going into it, and they had words, on social media and in interviews. But we had talked about how Tiffany has had this really this edge to her recently, and how that was going to play out in this match. And for a while, like you said, Emily, it seemed like it was, she was very aggressive, but it seemed like maybe we were going to get a mostly fair fight. And then Tiffany pulled, to me, it looked like she deliberately pulled the official in the way of Emmy's spear. And if we want to be if we want to give her the benefit of the doubt, we could say, okay, maybe that was an accident. But then when she pulled those clippers out of her boot, that means that she planned to cheat if she had to. And that, I don't like that. That I don't like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with bringing new energy, and both of these ladies brought this aggressiveness. Like, I've never seen this aggressiveness from Emmy Camacho before. This was a whole new era of Emmy, and she was bringing this. And so it felt like we were getting to the point in the match where Tiffany maybe felt flustered, like she felt like she was losing a grasp of the match, and so she felt like she needed to resort to that. But I wanted it to be a fair fight because I think it just makes the Mission Pro Championship and #1 contender spot that much more meaningful, right? If you do it the right way.
Yeah, and my wife's in the chat. She says Tiffany walked in looking like she had a plan. She had a plan the whole time. And the plan was, this is a #1 contender match for the Mission Pro Championship, which obviously her focus was on. And I think she was a win at all costs. She had a mindset that was just, I don't think Emmy was ready for.
Yeah. And I mean, again, I'm sure that Emmy, she wanted to be #1 contender more than anything. If there's any, consolation that Emmy can take from this is Tiffany was so threatened by this match with Emmy that she had to come with a plan and a backup plan to make sure she beat her. And I mean, I think that just shows how much Emmy has grown and how much of a threat she has become, even at this young age, young into her career. And again, I know it's not the same as being #1 contender. I know it's not a great consolation prize, but it really does show that Emmy Camacho is a serious threat in Mission Pro.
Oh, definitely. I mean, Nieves, so Eric's comment, Nieves is fire. She has serious talent and will be a big star in pro wrestling, only a matter of time. And yeah, everyone in the chat is is talking about that moment. Mindrunner said, Tiffany pulls a knife, Holiday be like, that's not a knife, this is a knife. Yeah, so they were like little pliers. Yeah.
But I feel like the style of the match changed too. It started out, Emmy was very technical and very deliberate in the way that she was approaching things, and it sort of changed throughout into more of a fight. And I think that at a certain point, as you said, like Emmy was getting the best of Tiffany, and Tiffany had to resort to these tactics to win.
Yeah.
I think Emmy was going to win that match.
Yeah, I mean, there was a speed and intensity from Emmy Camacho that, like, I feel like she was on super hyperdrive this match, and I feel like that was when Tiffany kind of seemed to me to kind of shift gears and get the ref involved, and again try to get a pin when like the ref's down and do all this stuff when and again, they're not legal actions. Like the legality of that moment is and
a couple folks, Mindrunner, Big Mike, are suggesting some interesting things that maybe this upcoming title match needs to have like relaxed rules or something, because that really, if this is what Tiffany's gonna do, like if this is her plan, if she's gonna come to the ring with weapons and be willing to like sacrifice referees, then really the only way to get ahead of that and guarantee that we have as fair of a fight as we can might be to, relax some of the rules a little bit, because that means that Jenna also has the opportunity to fight back.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and Genocide's been in, a double casket match. She's been in these like no DQ matches. She's been through all types of matches. So
she wouldn't back down from that, I'm sure.
Yeah, she'll be prepared for anything. For sure.
Yeah, and I have to mention in the chat, Brian says Tiffany owes me 4 zip ties. I think we should take the money from the paid advertisement to get some more zip ties.
Yeah, let's do that. Thank you.
Well, so my idea is we buy more zip ties and we just like use them maybe on Men's Revolution. We find like, I don't know, like a pipe that we could just sort of secure them to in the locker room. I'm just throwing out ideas.
Okay. Just lock them up somewhere. Can we lock them in a steel cage? Put them in a steel cage, like Town Ward says. Just put them in a steel cage, throw away the key.
But yeah, I think that this number one contenders match was, again, really a show stealer, but it has implications beyond just true colors, because now Tiffany's number one contender and she has this whole new attitude, and the one person who's not gonna take that is Jenna. So I don't know.
Exactly.
Very exciting.
I know. It is very exciting. So Tiffany, as everyone knows, is the number one contender. And August 12th, we'll see what happens at Boiling Point. But we definitely, this definitely was a match to watch for sure. And lots of people in the chat were saying it was a match of the night. But we'll do our final votes. Near the end. But let's move on to the next match. And it was Brittany Brooks versus Maya World. And again, this was our double duty, double debut match. And so we had two ladies coming into Mission Pro for the first time, and we got to really see some incredible athleticism from Maya World and Brittany. I was just so blown away by Maya World and all of just the athleticism and flips and kind of just
hello.
Yep. She wants to talk wrestling. Just all of the amazing things that she brought, like these super kicks to the table. What did you both think? Because we were thinking that this might be a match that might be match of the night.
Yeah, I mean, the match really delivered on a lot of what I thought it would, only because when we were talking to Maya and then we kind of had this discussion in the preview, my thought on it was just going like from my own experience, Brittany and Maya, they're friends. And I think they said they hadn't even met in person, but they become friends through pro wrestling. They check up on each other's training. They're kind of coming up through pro wrestling together. And sometimes when you're in the ring with someone that like you're friends with and you have that sort of like friendly competition with, you really push each other to impress. And I think also because they were friends, they really wanted to make sure that in both of their debuts they impressed in front of the Mission Pro fans, and I did exactly that. Like, it really felt like a match where they were pushing each other hard, and I think we were the kind of the winners for that, because we got to see some awesome stuff.
Definitely. We sure did. Yeah, everyone in the chat loved this match. And I think lots of people were excited to see Brittany Brooks and Maya World together. And they do, again, we had two kind of baby faces, right? A little bit. Like they're just kind of these just such energy and happy energy. But once they started really fighting in the ring, we saw a different side to them. I do want to give a shout out real quick. Brittany Brooks was sponsored twice by Raw Indie Deal and Bobby Beatty. So thank you so much. Maya World was sponsored by Trenda, our co-host of our Thursday show. And the match itself was sponsored by the No Gimmicks podcast. So again, thank you all so much, because you helped bring these ladies to Mission Pro Wrestling and make their debut even more special.
And I think there's also a certain pressure that comes with making a debut. I know in the interviews that you did with both women that they were, it's an important thing to debut at Mission Pro, and they both wanted to make a statement. And I don't think you could have asked for a better match to make a statement for two people. And as Brian says in the chat, I definitely would like to see both women compete at Mission Pro again.
For sure. I think they earned it in that match.
Definitely. They definitely earned it. And I really liked this moment near the end of the match where they were trying to fight over these near falls, right? Like there was really kind of this competition to get, it seemed like this energy, they want that win, right? So there was just this battle back and forth to get the most. Obviously, Maya won, but there was definitely, the way this happened was really incredible ending to this match.
For sure.
Also a split crowd for this match. It was, I think both competitors were definitely favorites of the crowd. I couldn't pick a winner from a crowd favorite perspective.
Yeah, sometimes we watch these shows, and especially like when two people are really like laying it out there, and you'll like look at the crowd and you're like, wait a second, I think some people are chanting both things, which is fine.
I mean, sometimes it changes during the during the match. You're like, oh, I'm going to start with this person, but I'm going to switch over here. So Mind Runner mentioned Brittany and Mia Friday should form a tag team. Interesting.
So yeah, but we talked about how they are friends, and sometimes this could be a great start for a tag team. And I'm sure we're going to get to this in a few minutes, but we have such a hot tag division, but we have champs that really, to me, seem unstoppable. So I'm all for more tag teams in Mission Pro.
I mean, we love tag teams, and our division is really on fire. But let's get to our next match. We have the next match is Alejandra Lyon versus Shea Carmichael. So Alejandra Lyon is obviously is a staple at Mission Pro Wrestling, and then Shea Carmichael. I think this is her second time at Mission Pro, and this was a really interesting match to watch. It kind of started real fast. And I want to get your feelers on this one. Maybe front row, you want to start on this one?
Yeah, so Alejandra always brings this like super physical match quality. She always brings an intensity, and especially with this new attitude that she's had lately, it was incredibly physical right from the very beginning. I felt like Alejandra Shea was on the defense for a lot of the match.
A lot of it, yeah.
And I'm always super impressed by Alejandra, but this was a next level of intensity and physicality. Some of the chops, some of the strikes were just next level. Like, you start to get worried about people like, oh my goodness, what's going on right now? So yeah, I love this match. One of my favorite matches of the night, actually.
Yeah, I mean, like Brian said, Alejandra was so physical. Those chops and slaps were brutal, and that is
Mhm.
true. Like, front row, you bring up a good point that Alejandra had her strategy set from the beginning. She came in and she was like, "I'm going to be a full on like." I'm not going to let Shea get anything in, right? I mean, Shea did get some stuff in, but Shea was definitely on the defensive most of this match.
But she
Yeah,
definitely embodied that lioness, that sort of like stalking her prey through the match.
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, Shea was really like trying her best, and Big Mike says that Shea needs to stay the course. She's ready for a breakthrough win, and I agree with that too. It's just Alejandra is, and she said it, like she's actually said it. She is so focused. She is just a whole new wrestler, and I think that she is just going to continue to dominate anyone who is put in front of her. So, in terms of Shea, like she again continues to get fans here in Mission Pro, but she had a bad draw with Alejandra because she is just unstoppable right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Big Mike says Alejandra is always fierce, but Shea needs to stay the course. She's ready for a breakthrough win. And that's true. I mean, this gives Shea a chance to come back a little bit stronger, come back, depending on her opponent and her match. Like, think about that strategy because Alejandra knows how to play the physical and mental game. And you could obviously see that in this match. And so, it just means Shea needs to sharpen her claws as well and be ready for anything and any opponent. Brian said, I thought Shea stole something, how Alejandra was beating her.
I thought she owed Alejandra some money or something. I was like,
Yeah,
what's
I was
going
like,
on here?
"Ooh, are you not giving her a ride home? Like, what's happening?" I was like, "She needs did she take her lunch money? Like, what's happening?" But yeah, everyone go back and watch this match. It was really kind of was again really great,
Very intense.
very intense. If you want to see Alejandra, don't take her lunch money. Just saying. All right, we have so much to talk about. We have to get to these last two matches.
Yeah,
we had two championship matches, and the next one, this was like our co-main event. This was Genocide versus Jasmine Allure for the Mission Pro Wrestling Championship. And these two have a lot of history. They've been, obviously, we've talked a lot about it. They've been going back and forth for a while now on social media. Genocide, as the Mission Pro champion, was really intensely training, and Jasmine had some very harsh words for her. But this was really, I think, I'm going to say one of my favorite matches of the night as well. And it definitely had a little hot start here outside of the ring. And we had a little chop night towards Jasmine. But how do you all feel like this really just kind of jump-started, had a hot start. And Genocide, again, had this strength that I haven't really seen her use before. It was like a new elevated strength and power within her. So, and Jasmine really brought it to Genocide as well.
Yeah, I mean, Jasmine even attacked Jenna during her entrance. Like, she was in it to win it. And, like, obviously, yes, it's a championship match, but even so, like, you could tell that Jasmine, was fighting, knowing that this was her chance. Because keep in mind, to be number one contender at Mission Pro, like, there's a hierarchy there. We have a new number one contender. We have Tiffany Nieves. So Jasmine knew, like, this is her chance. She has to do it. And there were so many moments where I thought maybe she would.
Yeah.
But in the end, Jenna, like, just caught her. And that was a devastating pile driver. And, of course, we're going to get into what happened after the match. But, like, you could tell just how raw and intense this was for Jasmine.
Yeah, I mean, there was moments where Genocide was just full on throwing Jasmine across the ring and just like she's like kind of like a rag doll. And like I have seen, but then Jasmine was so great about getting back up and saying, I'm not taking that. And I loved how there was such an intense back and forth that it did not stop once. There was never a moment where Jasmine was like, this is not my time. Like she kept like steamrolling that through and making that known. But Front Row, what was your reactions to some of these, to having these, again, the stakes were very high. Like Veda said, Jasmine knew that this was her moment. A former Mission Pro champion. She knows what it's like, even for a short time, to be Mission Pro champion.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm a huge fan of Genocide, our champion. Today is, I believe, her 270th day as champion. And her when she came out, it's Pride Month. Obviously, we have our Pride shirts. So we had a lot of Pride and rainbow, and it's super, super happy. Jenna had this amazing wingspan with the rainbow.
Yeah.
And I was so devastated to see Jasmine attack her and ruin all that. Like, that made me so angry.
It was a beautiful entrance, and then you're right.
And then of course Jasmine, she attacks Jenna side and then goes into the ring and for some reason decides to celebrate early. And I didn't understand that. It was almost like she had this false sense of confidence, like she had won the match. And of course that gave Genocide the time she needed to recoup and just get back in the ring. And like you said, Genocide took over at that point for the majority of the match.
Yeah. I mean, there was a few moments that like Angel said, I was split. I love Jenna, but I also have a soft spot for Jasmine. And I feel like there was moments where the audience and people at home were like one way, right? And then they shifted later in the match to support support Jasmine or support Genocide. Like there was definitely like an ebb and flow of like the emotions of the match were there. You could see Genocide's face when she hit Jasmine. You could see Jasmine just not wanting to give in, right? She was like, I'm going to try every angle. I'm going to be faster than her. I'm going to try to get those jabs in.
But even attacking Genocide on the outside of the ring, that drop kick to her leg on the stairs,
yeah,
I winced. That was terrifying.
For sure. Someone said, Big Mike said, you want to be the champ, you got to beat her, and Genocide isn't going down without a hell of a fight.
Well, and then we also, as this match was ending and as Jasmine just looked so devastated in the ring, I was trying to think, whoa, what's going to be next for her? And then we found out what's next for her.
Exactly.
When she attacked Izzy, who was, legitimately, Izzy had some harsh words for Jasmine on commentary during the match, but I think that the fight that Jasmine showed even won her over. So Izzy was just trying to, comfort Jasmine because Jasmine was, again, she would look devastated. It was really hard to watch, and she just attacked Izzy, who, she's training to be a pro wrestler. She's around pro wrestling, but she was not there to compete. She got attacked from behind.
Yeah, I mean, we all heard Izzy. For those at home, Izzy was on commentary. We all heard her. She was very excited to be there. We were happy to have her. And we saw, like Veda said, the devastating reaction from Jasmine when it was a moment of friendship, an extension of a friendship bracelet from Izzy. And Jasmine reacted in the most, very unprofessional, very angry. And obviously it was a moment of vulnerability for her, some might say, where she was it was right after her match. She was angry, frustrated. But as Brian says, never turn your back on Jasmine.
But that now we know that Izzy's going to make her debut at the next Mission Pro show at Boiling Point. And I will say this. I mean, yes, obviously Jasmine is so skilled and she's going to have the experience advantage, because Izzy is just starting wrestling. Izzy has now about 2 months to prepare, and we know how hard she trains. So now she knows who her opponent is. And I think Jasmine might have made a mistake by essentially setting this match up and giving Izzy something to fight for. So I don't know. I'm really intrigued to see this.
Yeah, I mean, this was one of the moments of the night where so many people were rooting for Izzy, that people were shouting for Izzy. We obviously had to make sure she was okay. And, she obviously was attacked by Jasmine. But in that moment, when she called out Jasmine, it was a huge moment for her. And she has 2 months to prepare, as you said. And she does CrossFit. She does all of these other things outside of wrestling that I think is only going to make her stronger. And, Jasmine, again, has this top tier attitude where she always tries to call out her opponents and says she is the best. But she has to be careful about that up and coming talent that might be just around the corner.
Yeah, and to your point, we've all sort of been following Izzy's journey for years now. We first met her 8 years ago at an NXT show, so we've been a big fan of watching her evolve and grow. But to your point, on paper, Izzy facing a former Mission Pro champion in Jasmine might seem like a mismatch, but she has been training super hard. She is she's CrossFit and MMA training, and I think she's going to be a much bigger threat than maybe some people will think. I'm super excited for this match on August 12th.
Yeah.
It will definitely
And
be.
this is a rarity. It was our world title. It was our title match. It was not the main event. It could have been the main event with the intensity, and that just goes to show like what was building into the actual main event. That 4-way tag title match. It really is the only thing I think that could have superseded that the Jenna and Jasmine's match was this tag title match, because that had so much animosity behind it. I am going to have to get going in just a minute or so, so let me give my opinion on this one, because, oh boy. So we had said this, like, we could not allow Men's Revolution to win. And of course, everyone involved in the match wanted to either win the titles or retain the titles. But I think I could tell, like, you could just tell throughout the match that there was also this, like, added element of making sure that Men's Revolution didn't win. Like, obviously, the Money Birds and King Bees, like, they want to win for sure. But I feel like it just seemed like they also had this motivation of keeping Men's Revolution from winning the tag titles. And I don't know if maybe that kind of like split their attention a little bit. Because Bougie Reality, obviously they've been so dominant as champs, but they were at a disadvantage going into this match. And I had Money Birds as my pick. I didn't think Bougie Reality was going to pull it off. And I was very surprised by the ending of this match, but I was happy too, because they're great champs.
Yeah. I mean, thank you, Veda, so much. I know you have to go.
I got to run. But
okay.
Thank you so much. And I will see you next week. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you, Veda.
No worries. Thanks,
Bye.
Veda.
Thank you.
Everyone go follow Veda.
Bye.
We'll plug your stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So as Veda said, this was again, the champions are going into this 4-way tag team match kind of at a disadvantage, and King Bees and Money Birds really showcase their talent here. And there was kind of a shift in this match at one point where it felt like Money Birds was going to take it. I don't know if you felt that front row, but there was definitely this shift where I saw kind of these future, maybe future Mission Pro champions at some point. But I felt like it was going that way. There was that moment on the top rope. They just felt very in sync. And I was on the edge of my seat for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And just as a side note, my favorite moment during this match was Bougie Reality trying to get the cover on each other and count that as a win. It was interesting. It didn't work, but I thought it was. That's not how any of this works.
Pins were Shea. That should have counted.
That was tremendous. But no, I mean, Moneybirds has really emerged as a top competitor, a top team in Mission Pro, and as Veda mentioned, the tag division is on fire. We have a bunch of like really, really excellent teams. So this match, and as the middle of the match was during the middle of the match, as you said, Moneybirds really looked like they were going to get this win. They were dominant. The everything was in their favor. The momentum was on their side, and I was honestly surprised that they didn't emerge as new tag team champions.
Yeah, lots of people are saying I was really hoping Moneybirds would win, and I think Bob Berger. I'm going to throw this out here. Where does the tag division go from here? The champs have beaten everyone separately, and now all at the same time.
Yeah, maybe a new team emerges. Who knows?
I don't know. I mean, we have tag teams forming, alliances, friends, enemies coming together. Who knows what can happen? But I think that's a good thing to think about. Is like, if we think about a year ago, Bougie Reality has been champions for a little over a year, like May 14th or so, 15th, I believe. So it's interesting to see like how many other tag teams have been formed and alliances formed and created, and we've seen kind of go through Mission Pro doors. So I'm ready for more tag teams. I don't know about you,
Me
Front
too.
Row, but I want them. Give me all the tag teams.
Well, word of mouth is this is the place to come for tag team wrestling. So let's bring on all contenders. Bring on new people, old people. I don't care. Bring them all on.
Yeah, this was so really. Again, this was such an incredible show. But I wanted to get your thoughts. I know we didn't get Beta's major pick of match of the night, but Front Row, what was your match of the night? And everyone in the chat, I want to know yours as well.
My match of the night is the debuting Black Swan against JP because I hadn't seen much of her. I've seen a few of her matches. She was on Dark Elevation a few times, and but that was only like a sample. To really see what she can bring to the table, I was blown away. So that's my match of the night based on her being just having a stellar debut in Mission Pro.
Mm-hmm. So I'm torn between Tiffany Nieves and Emmy Camacho and Genocide versus Jasmine. Because I feel like both of those had such great energy leading up to it, and then it had ramifications for the one after. So I feel like it just kind of elevated both of those. So I can't really choose match of the night, but those are my two.
I will add one more thing about the Genocide Jasmine match. I think Jasmine brought out a different side of Genocide. It was a different type of competition than we've seen with like other people like Hyan or even Holodead. Like it was just a different style of match, and I felt like Genocide had to bring a different skill set to this match. So I thought it was one of Genocide's better Mission Pro matches because of the creativity that she had to bring to beat Jasmine here.
Yeah, lots of people are saying the Black Swan versus JP match is their favorite. So that I'm glad. So we kind of have a pretty big consensus on that one. But I'm glad. Like I feel like this show had a match for everyone, and I feel like the show was amazing as a whole. So if you all didn't watch it, most of the people in the chat didn't. But if you're watching this later, you can go back, watch it on Title Match. We also have our sponsorships and all of for wrestlers for matches for the August show. We haven't announced our matches yet, except the few that you all know about. But all of our sponsorship opportunities are open. So you can email missionprowrestling@gmail.com and get involved early on. And we appreciate all of the support for this last show and for everything all year long. We really couldn't do it without you guys. So thank you so much. And what else? Front Row. Merch is coming online, so you all can order online. Thank you for everyone that purchased new merch at the show.
Yeah, that's a thing to note for people who come to Mission Pro. There's always great merch. There's always interesting, unique items there. We had Pride shirts on sale. There were all of the wrestlers had some great stuff. And if you are on the show, if you are wrestling for Mission Pro, bring your merch because the lines were crazy long.
They were definitely long. The fans were so excited they wanted to stay all night long. We only had so much time.
We had to push them out with a broom.
We did. I was like, all right, everyone, we got to wrap it up. But this was amazing. Thank you all so much for your support. We're going to have more interviews on Tuesdays for On a Mission in the coming weeks leading up to the August show. And I know Front Row, you are hosting with Trenda the Thursday show, Mission Pro Unmatched. So you can catch that at 9 p.m. Central on Thursdays. And follow, subscribe to Mission Pro Wrestling on all of our social media platforms. Here on YouTube, hit that notification bell so that you get notifications for when we go live, when we have shows, when we have anything special on our YouTube channel. And follow this, share it with friends and family, and bring a friend to a show next time, or send a link to the show to a friend that you might think might enjoy it. They will love it for sure. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Front Row, any last words?
No, you can find me on all the socials at PW Front Row. I also host Nation's Corner on Saturday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern with all the Nation's Corner crew. Make sure you follow Veda Scott at It's Veda Time on Twitter. All of her activity is branches off of her Twitter, so go give her a follow over there as well.
Amazing. And you can follow me on all social platforms at Emily May Heller. Follow Mission Pro Wrestling, and we will see you next week.